This video is brought to you by the PowerBase Mini, a smaller, more compact alternative to the original PowerBase converter. Visit the link in the description below for more information. Hey, what's going on, guys? SeeJayAre here with my Q&A number 2. This will be the answers video. Thank you so much for all the questions. It's probably going to take me quite a while to get through this. I'm going to try and keep it under an hour, under half an hour, not an hour, definitely not. So I'm going to fly through a lot of these and get to as many as possible. I'm going to get right into this. R. Romer asks, question 1, if you had a degenerative memory illness, which I feel like I do lately, and you can only choose one video game memory that you could live with for the rest of your life, what would it be? I have very few gaming memories for some reason of when I was like a kid. In my teens I have a lot, but the one that comes to mind is my sister and I, we're great friends now, but we had nothing to do with each other. She's 4 years older than me. As kids we rarely even talked to each other. But one of the memories I do have was a gaming memory with her, surprisingly. It was the original Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt game on the NES. Basically, a friend of hers came over and showed us all the warp zones and all the tricks. Or was it Mario 3? It could have been Mario 3. That's how bad my memory is. No, it was the original Mario Brothers. Showed me how to get to the warp zones and all the little tricks in that game. Which was mind-blowing for the day. There was no internet, so this is kind of how you saw things. I don't think I had Nintendo Power at the time, but her coming over and showing us this stuff was just absolutely crazy. So that's probably one of my best gaming memories. If your wife wanted to dress up, second question by R. Romer, if your wife wanted to dress up as your favorite female video game character for your birthday, who would you choose? Maybe Lara Croft? I'm just trying to think of who she... I'm really into Vanille from the Final Fantasy 13, but she doesn't look a bit like her. She could pass for Lara Croft. She could definitely make a pretty cute Lara Croft, to be honest. If you don't sell your collection, sorry, this is I am Sparky HD. I pub stomp you watch. If you don't sell your collection, will it pass throughout your family? E.g. to your son, nephew. I will pass it down. There are several questions in here asking me about selling or thinning out my collection. I will thin my collection out someday, maybe sooner than later, but there'll be a good 1,000 or 2 games that I will hold on and pass down to my son that I will not ever let him sell until I die. What advice can you give for a 13-year-old collecting video games? That was by Jazz. And Dan Mack already answered him. This is something I've always said before, especially at that age. Ask all your family, friends, post on Facebook that you're looking for old video games. My mom knows everybody, so when I first started, I told her to ask, her family, friends, and stuff like that. And it comes through once in a while, but for a 13-year-old, that's a great way to start. Dave the NES guy, when you first started collecting back in the day, what were some of your initial collection goals, and have you hit them today? Initial goals, I don't really have any collecting goals, to be honest. I would like to complete, the only one I can think of is complete my NES collection and Dreamcast collection. Those aren't goals that I really had when I started, though. When I started, I just wanted to play all the old games I had when I was a kid. But right now, yeah, NES, I'd like a complete... Virtual Boy, Vectrex, and the one I'm really trying to complete is the Dreamcast. Ludo. Do you think building up a collection that big would have been possible without garage sales and Walmart sales? He's referring to my $1 Walmart sale. No. If I didn't buy stuff at garage sales, I wouldn't have 3/4 of this stuff. I wouldn't collect. If I had to buy stuff on eBay, there's no way I would collect it. There's no way I would have any of this stuff behind me if it wasn't for garage sales. It's just too expensive. And for me, half the fun of this hobby is hunting down these video games at garage sales, thrift stores, that kind of stuff, and trying to keep it as cheap as possible. Kill a Creeper. Do you ever think of turning your collection into an actual business, like opening an actual store? Here's a big question. It's been asked a few times. I am considering that. That's all I should probably say for now. I'm more than considering it. I've done a lot of research in the last 3 or 4 months into that actual thing, opening the store. 97 Retro Game Nerd. What is the average mileage you drive for garage sales in a weekend? I'd say probably 20 kilometers. It's a lot of stop and go though, so I spend maybe $15 to $20 gas maximum. It's not that bad, to be honest. Mileage, I don't know, 15 miles maybe. Favorite video game genre? I'd have to go with RPG. That's by Saint Saladin RPGs. 74 Vid Gamer. Which console design do you think is better, Super Nintendo or Super Famicom? I am a big fan of the Famicom Colors. I think I might like the Famicom Colors better, but the Super NES design better, if that makes any sense. I definitely like the Famicom controllers better, with the different colored buttons. Mark Harmon, are there any other good months of the year for picking up at garage sales besides May? June's really good. July and August, especially this year more than ever, has slowed down. And I still actually, in past years, I do well in September. But May and June are the best. Here's a good one. Killa Mahago? Favorite Raptors player? I'm a huge Raptors fan. Current and all-time, and were you happy with last year's run? First off, I was very happy with last year's run. And like everybody else, I was all about tanking for draft picks. In the NBA, the Raptors especially, being mediocre is the worst place you can be. You either got to be contending for a top 3 playoff spot or be absolutely terrible and stockpile draft picks. The last 10 years, the Raptors have just been floating along, being average, and that's the absolute worst spot you can be. So at first, I wasn't happy. I wanted to tank really badly, but that going into the playoffs, it's been years. I missed very few Raptors games. I really did like that run last year, and we're building on that foundation this year. So should be the next couple of years should be very good. Favorite Raptor player of all time? I can't say Vince Carter. Still haven't forgiven him for quitting on the team, and he's never apologized. There was talk of him coming back this year. I don't want to see his face until he apologizes for quitting on our team. But favorite Raptors player? That's so hard for me to answer. I was a big JYD fan. Believe it or not, I was a big Rafer Alston fan when he came through. I was a big fan of the N1 videos, and I thought he played well for the Raptors. It's too hard for me. Charles Oakley. It's a tough one. I think probably I was a big Alvin Williams fan because of his heart and hustle. I'll go with Alvin Williams. That's so tough. I should have thought about that one longer. JCow 99, JCAU 99, I should say. What element of a video makes you enjoy the video most, aside from the gaming aspect, comedy, storytelling, etc.? Boobs, he put too. Storytelling. I don't care if somebody picks up one thing at a garage sale or anything like that. If they can tell a story about it, that's what I'm really into. Obviously, the better to pick up, some more I'm going to be interested in. But some people can really paint a picture. And JCAU is very good at the comedy end. Comedy's a big one too, but storytelling is the biggest thing for me. And that's something that I could definitely be better at. But it's one of those things, either you have or you don't. Either you're Bithead 1000 or you're me. I rely on my pickups, I guess. Retro Bit Pano, what's your favorite planet? And it can't be Earth. Mars, definitely Mars. Retro Rewinder. Good question here. Would you rather have company while going to garage sales from someone that hunts for games as well, which you might have to share the loot, or go alone, keeping everything without the company? I'd rather go alone, to be honest. I move so quickly. I just move so quick. I couldn't imagine having to come along with somebody else, and I really don't want to. I'm greedy. I don't want to split stuff. I don't know how Craigslist game finds. I don't know how they do that sometimes. Him and Fanta, that's a tough one. White and Fanta. And he also asks, recently you were able to make it down to Midwest Gaming Classic, where you were able to hang out with multiple people, including myself. Was the experience good enough for you to travel back to a gaming convention in the States? Absolutely. The people I met in Milwaukee at the Midwest Gaming Classic made that convention. I think I was regretting flying down there to go to that convention. It's not a huge convention. I do like the convention, but if it weren't for the people I met, I think I would have been a little bit disappointed. So, the people made that trip for me. It was awesome meeting you guys. Married Guy Gamer, Ed T1138, Retro Rewinder, I'm forgetting a whole bunch, Bizness 17, forgetting a whole bunch of people, but there's a good chance I could be at I promised I wouldn't waste time like this. I can't remember. The one out in DC. I might head down to that one this year. Here's a good one. TN Game Collector. What's the highest offer you've had for your collection? This is a reoccurring question. And do you try and buy boxes to complete your games? Highest offer, I haven't had an offer for my entire collection. Boxes to game, I don't think I've ever done that. I bought a box and a manual to complete my Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64, and I think that's the only time. It's not something I actively seek. I like to find things extremely cheap, and at garage sales, I don't want to go spend... I don't have to have a complete... I'll buy a game if it's complete, but I won't actively seek out boxes and manuals. Corey Zamer. What was your favorite action figure and action figure line growing up? Definitely G.I. Joe. Do you have an extra insurance for your game room? I do. That was Max 86 Mad. Top 3 360 games. I was trying to think of that. Definitely BioShock. Oh, come on. The Orange Box. Those two were mind-blowing to me. I'm having trouble with the third. Lost Planet. There you go. That's a great one. That might be number 1. Exclusive, too. Outstanding Oshawott 2. Have you ever got really mad at a yard sale? Absolutely. I was trying to buy a Super Nintendo, and some guy decided to offer more. Some old guy that just was trying to be a smartass, had nothing to do with the games, and I shot that guy a death stare all the way back to his car. I can't remember what I said to him, but I wanted to kill him. He was just being a jackass. The Gamer 888 asks, what town are you living in Canada and how far are you from the border of the USA? I live in Kitchener, Ontario. It's about an hour from the Buffalo or Niagara Falls border. Do I have a Japanese import games collection going? No, I don't. You should open a video game store. Yep. I agree. For any of you watching who are from my area, I will not open a video game store in Kitchener, Waterloo. That will not happen. This market is saturated, so anybody thinking that I'm going to do that, it's not happening. Michael Hillstrom. What game are you most looking forward to watching your kids experience? I gotta say Super Mario 3, or maybe the Mario games, basically, in general. That's what I'm going to start Andrew on. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, the Mario games. What's my favorite Mario game? The Canadian Gamer. I gotta go with Galaxy on the Wii. I'm nostalgic. I love all the old games, but Galaxy on the Wii is extremely underrated. That's such a good game. Zach Attack 84. What do you mean when you say you get everything for free? You obviously paid money for it all of it at garage sales. How is it really free? If you mean you got money back from reselling, do you really keep track of every dollar you spend versus how much you get back from reselling? What about money spent on gas? Money spent on gas is maybe $20. I absolutely mean that all my retro stuff is free. By now it's all paid for itself. anytime I order a special edition of a game or new gen stuff, obviously I've got to pay for that. I never pay retail. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm buying bundles for $20, keeping 3 games that I need, and then flipping those consoles to buy more stuff. So really, that goes into the next gen stuff a lot of the time. So absolutely, it's free. With the amount of stuff that I'm able to get, for sure. And I do keep track, actually. Every summer I keep a running list. I keep it in notes on my iPhone, a list, like May 6th. What I got, total what I paid for, and then when I sell it, I write beside what I got, or what I sold it for. And I keep a running tally, and it's in the thousands. It's as much as, anywhere from like $4,000 to $5,000 every summer. So, you know, a lot of people are going to hate on that, but that's how I got all this stuff, and that's how I do it. I used to sell on Kijiji. My stuff I'd sell the day of. I would try and keep it low and reasonable and not be a total douchebag and jack prices up. I mean, I wanted to get rid of it. I was paying almost nothing for it. So, I mean, unfortunately, it led to a lot of times resellers. I know every reseller in town because they've all been to my place and bought stuff off me. So, reseller and store owner. So that's the unfortunate part, that sometimes you're going to sell to resellers and they're going to double what you sold it for, which is, to me, is nuts. So absolutely, I keep track, and yeah, I do. I keep track of every bundle I buy. A lot of times I'll post a pickup video and then rewatch the pickup video to record, because it's fresh in my mind. Sometimes I don't get to writing it down right away. And yeah, I keep a running tally every year. So yeah, it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but yeah, it's all pretty much free, except for the new gen stuff. That's why when somebody asks me what I paid for the collection, that's going to be hard to believe too. When your kids grow up, would you rather pass your collection on to them or sell them and give them money so they can use it to do things? I want to pass it on to them. It would be something that I would give to them in their 30s. I'm not going to give it to them in their 20s because they're going to go spend it on beer and waste it on stuff like college. Yeah, so I will pass it down. That was asked by Callum001. Formerly Jab Morrowind. R.I.P. Jab more renowned. Formerly Jab more renowned. Okay, I'm having trouble reading. Sorry if I butchered that. If you had to sell a portion of your game collection to pay for one of your son's tuitions, which console and games would you try to sell first? Intellivision and ColecoVision. I really don't have much affinity for those. The old Atari stuff, TI 99-4A, even the Commodore 64, that'll all be the first stuff to go. Number 1, Sega Pico. That'll be the first thing that goes. I don't even know why I have that. I know why I have it. I got it for next to nothing. And it was in the box. And it's a Sega system. But those will be the first things to go. Saif Khan. How do you manage to own such a collection without having the kids get into it and mess everything up when you're not there? My youngest son's not allowed down here at all. Andrew is an angel. He listens well, and he doesn't pull things off the shelf anymore. It's great. The NZ Game Freak. Do you have flooding problems? As I noticed, another fellow Canadian gamer had problems, probably referring to collecting Nintendo collecting, lithium, with his collection in the basement. No, actually, I am right beside a creek, but it's far enough away, and I have a walkout basement, and my house is on a bit of a slope, so I really don't think it's possible, to be honest. I have a sub pump. Most of my stuff most of it's somewhat raised off the ground, so I don't worry too much about it. TGNet.pl. Single player or multiplayer? Are you single player or more single player or more multiplayer? Definitely single player. I'm not into multiplayer games. I play a little bit of Call of Duty, which I suck at. I'm more into multiplayer couch co-op. I'm kind of old school. I play games online, but it's not really my favorite thing to do. Jay Rio. Here's a big question I always get that I should have answered in the questions video. How do you know what you have and what you don't? I assume you have a database or something like that you can pull up on your phone while looking for stuff. The database I use is collectors.com. It's the iPhone Collectors app on the iPhone, but there's also a desktop version. So just check out collectorswithz.com. The iPhone app's $15. They should really be sponsoring my channel. It's well worth $15. I've been using it for the last 5 years, as long as I've been collecting, and it's fantastic. The best out there, it has to be. Hero Revolver. If you had an overpriced retro game store, would you tell them their games are overpriced? If so, what would you say? If I asked if there was no price in the game, and I knew the price off the top of my head, and I knew it was really bad, if I asked them and they were like $20 over eBay, I would probably say that that's above eBay prices, which is ridiculous. If they have their stuff priced high, you know what? Whatever. I don't have to buy it. I don't, even if it was priced fairly, I probably still wouldn't buy it because I don't really buy stuff retail. So I would say something if there was no price on it and I asked, expecting it to be, it's a retail store and they were way above. I might say something then. I just might say, that's above eBay prices or something like that. I would try not to be a jerk about it. Me 2 or 3 years ago I might have, but I just don't really care anymore. 222277. What are the last 3 games you've beaten? Seen the credits roll. Last 3 games. Infamous, Second Son, Rise, Son of Rome, Knack. That's all I can think of. That gives you an idea of the last time I've been really into playing games. With summer and spring coming, I've just been so busy. But I plowed through those 3 games. I can't think of any else right now. I'm almost done. Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. Do you ever feel like it's pointless just to have all those games? I feel like this is a loaded question. This might be one of those people that doesn't like that I have all these games because I can't play them, kind of thing. Do you ever feel like it's pointless just to have all those games, but never get the time to play them for what they're worth and what was meant to be seen in them? Pointless. Yeah, I regret buying certain games. I'm far better than I used to be, but I don't care if I'm getting PS2 games for 50 cents each. What ends up to be free, you know what? I'll buy them. I have the space. I enjoy collecting them. Yeah, I'm not going to play a lot of them ever, and yeah, I may thin out that collection someday. But if I'm getting them for nothing, I'm going to buy them. What bothers me sometimes I never spend full retail games on even new games. Very, very rarely. I wait, or I get deals like the Future Shop deal that I've talked about, pre-order deal, where I pay like $40 instead of $69 here in Canada. So I do buy games that I don't get to. Everybody does that. There's nobody out there that... There are some of those freaks that buy one game, beat it, and don't buy another game until they do, and I wish I could do that, but yeah, there's games that I buy that I regret because I just didn't get back to them or whatever. It's not pointless. If I was sitting here buying stuff off eBay and I spent $100,000 on this stuff, which a lot of people assume because they don't watch my videos and they see this that I just blow all this money on this stuff, then yeah, I would hate myself for that. But what is the ratio of playing the games, same guy, versus the amount you spend collecting, shooting, maintaining your collection in general? Playing the games hasn't been much at all lately. Maybe 5 hours a week. I just don't have the time. But there's not a whole lot of new releases that I've been buying lately. Yeah, I mean, I definitely spend more time collecting, shooting, maintaining the collection than I do playing right now at the moment. Yeah, for sure. That's part of collecting for me. Obviously I want to play as many games as possible, but nobody's ever going to be able to play every single one of these games. It's just not going to happen. And if you don't like that, sorry. Heoji Zhu? I wonder how I don't know if that's... I don't want to say that's Chinese. It could be wrong. Heoji Zhu, I think. Let me know if that's right. I probably butchered it. Do you ever get bored of your collections? No, I never get bored of it. it is tough sometimes. I come down here and I spend a lot of time staring at the shelves looking for something to play, but no, I never get bored of it. Muffin Swagger, question, Xbox One or PS4? PS4. Huge, I was a huge 360 fan, but the PS4 is definitely the way to go with this generation so far. The Dragon Sleeve. If you could have any one dream item for your collection, what would it be? Dream item Snatcher on the Sega CD. I would love to have a copy of that. Crop Dusting, Games Are Us. Where did you get all the shelves? Good question, to hold all the games. And what is your son's favorite SNES game? The only SNES game he's played is Super Mario World so far. Maybe some Super Metroid, but it's too hard for him. I made the shelves. There's a series of videos on my channel. It's under the Game Room playlist, so go check that out. I made them with just strips of sheet metal and wood, and then painted them. My dad helped me out, and I'm extremely happy because for all the ones I made, it probably cost me $60 or $80. Couple more here, and this is obviously going to have to be a two-parter. There's no way I can finish this. I don't even think I'm halfway done. Game difficulty. Have you got any tips for garage sales? I made one garage sale tip video. I never got around to making that second one. But my number one tip is, well, I'll give you two. Never skip a sale, and always ask if they have video games. 80% of the stuff I find was not out at the sale. You've got to ask, and you've got to list multiple things. So when I ask, I say, hi, just wondering if you have any video game stuff. A lot of times I'll get no. You just ignore that no and keep going into, like, I always say Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega, Atari, GameCube, N64, PS2, and eventually, like, you wouldn't believe, on the 10th or 12th item sometimes people are like, oh, I got one of those. So those are my biggest tips. That was by Game Difficulty. I don't know if I said that. Smoky Mango. If you found Chrono Trigger or Earthbound and you could only have one, what would you choose? Great question. I would choose Chrono Trigger in a heartbeat. I think it's a much better game. And I got a copy of Chrono Trigger 2 days ago, which I'll talk about later. Definitely Chrono Trigger. I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made. Love Earthbound, but I don't think it is anywhere near Chrono Trigger. Sonic the Hedgehog 9908. What is your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game? My favorite is actually Sonic CD. It was one of the only games I had when I first got my Sonic CD, and that Sonic Boom song got me so pumped for that game. And it's actually a good Sonic game in my opinion, so definitely Sonic CD. Bob5111, what's your favorite zombie game? Zombies Ate My Neighbors for sure. And I'm going to end it there. That's going to be the end of part 1 of the answers series. Feel free to ask some more questions if I didn't answer them on this video, and I'll try to get to them on part 2. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Facebook page in the link below, and till the next episode.